Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you different ways to make little nature houses. So this is my example right here, and these houses are going to be made out of natural materials mostly that you can find in your yard or on a hike or something like that. So this one is one that my kids and I recently made, and it's made out of, as you can see, the sides are sticks. The roof is bark, and the bottom is a log. There's another log up here that I put on. And my kids actually did a wrapped stick here, so they wanted to put that on, like kind of the roof there. I also made a little ladder out of sticks, and so it's just some sticks, and I used some glue and some yarn. Here's a little bed I made. So this is just a piece of cardboard, and I covered it with moss and put a little bark pillow there. The first step to building one of these, or something like it, will be to collect materials, and that is one of the funnest parts of this project. So I like to take a basket outside. I'll have some clippers, some scissors, things like that, and you go around and you find natural objects that are really interesting to you that you might want to include in your house. And for mine, I like these flat stumps. Now I burn with firewood at my house. We have a wood stove, so I have a lot of these kinds of things laying around. If you don't have something like this at your house, you can always use a regular log. You can use even a piece of cardboard. You can make your bottom out of a bunch of sticks like this glued together. That could be your bottom. It could even be a big stone, big flat rock. So anything that's just kind of flat that you could build up onto would work. I also have just this piece of wood. It's got a flat bottom here, and I'm gonna put it as my back, the back of my house, and I'm gonna build around it. I have a bunch of sticks that I cut. I just had some branch cutters, and I went out and I found a few sticks, and I just cut them to be about all of the same size. So this will be my walls. I have some bark here that I'm going to use as my roof. So the possibilities for what you can use for your house are endless. I've got a lot of pine trees in my yard, so you can use some pine cones if you have any. These could be, really cool in your house. You could put something like that on there. I've got a hickory tree in my yard, so these are like the little shells to the nuts that fall off. And these could go on your house somehow too. Little acorn tops are the best. So I've got quite a collection of those, and these can be used as well in your house. Also rocks, if you have rocks. Some nice looking rocks that you have, you could put those around. So basically, go out, get into nature, go find some materials, and you'll never know what you're going to find. And as soon as you start looking and thinking about natural objects that you want to make a house with, suddenly the natural world kind of opens up and everything seems really cool and interesting. So that's a really fun part of this project. So for my houses, I have a hot glue gun, and that is what I use to glue my objects on with. So if you have a hot glue gun, that's great. If you have wood glue or any other kind of glue, so the wood glue or like an Elmer's glue would just take longer to dry, so you'd have to hold your objects there. If you were to glue a stick on and you had just regular glue, you'd have to hold it on a lot longer. I like hot glue because it dries really quickly. And other materials, you're gonna just want some scissors and any kind of cutter that you would need to cut some little sticks and stuff. Okay, so you could start with your base. So this will be my base, and then this will be my background here, my little background log. And so I'm just going to take my glue gun, and I'm gonna I need to flip this around. I'm going to find where I want to put that. I'm going to put some glue down. And I'll just Now, if you're working with a hot glue gun, definitely be careful, get some help, because it will burn you for sure. So that's on there pretty good. Now, the thing about these little houses that I've found is that they are kind of fragile. They're made out of natural objects, they're made out of glue, so you have to really be careful when you move them around. You want to always take them by the base and move them around. You want to be gentle. You don't want to, bash on them with toys or anything like that. So they can fall apart. So once you have your background on there, you're going to want to take your sticks, and what I do is I just kind of glue some of it onto the base and then some of it onto this background, so that way it's got support. That's kind of the whole trick to all this, is that these natural objects need support in order to stay up. So I'll put a little bit of glue right here and a little bit of glue right there, and I will glue that on and hold it. So as you can see, it's dried pretty good. It dries quickly with this hot glue, and it's attached to this and it's attached to the base here, so it's pretty sturdy. So you want to continue as far as much as you want here. So you'll have to kind of arrange your sticks to make sure that there's a point of contact in at least 2 places. So my point of contact will be on this base here and then on the top of this stick. So that's where I'll put my glue. So as you can see, I'm starting to build my wall. And the curve of these woods and all their little imperfections is what makes the house interesting. And then if you want to make sure that you still can see inside, so you can leave this space a little open in the front, and you can work on the other side. Flip that around. So I'm going to put my last stick on here. So as you can see, I've got 2 sides with the sticks, and I'm going to leave it actually really open in the front. But if you wanted to close it in more, you can. But I kind of like it when it's open like that. So these are pretty sturdy, and they're all dry and well glued. So now it'll be time to add my roof. And I've got my bark over here. I've got 2 pieces of bark. So I'm going to, before I glue it, I'm going to just kind of place it and make sure that it's going to fit and that it looks good. That one looks good. And then I'll maybe put this one in the back. And I think that actually looks really good. So I'm going to kind of look under here to see where the bark is touching the wood. That way I can glue it on nicely. So put some glue here, here, and here. And then I will glue my other one on in the back here. As you can see, I've got 2 of them on there, and I might need to glue it a little bit more once it's on there. Okay. So sometimes the hot glue gun leaves little strings, little glue strings, so try to pick those off. There. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Looks like a nice roof, nice and sturdy. Okay, so from here, you could add lots of things. You could add, if you have these some little shells or some little seed pods, you can glue them down. You could, if you have acorns, you could even put a bunch on your roof, like as kind of like a roof decoration. That could be cool. something like that. These almost look like they could be little seats. And you don't have to glue them down. You can actually just put them in and move them around. Maybe you'd want to put something like, let's see, like this on the front door. So why don't we do that? We'll glue that down. Move these. It's kind of nice. And good. Maybe you could even put a pine cone up here. Or you could put maybe a pine cone bench in there. That's where your toys or anything can sit. You could also put your rocks in there. So the possibilities for how you can decorate your house and make your house cozy are really infinite. I ended up taking some pine cones and I glued them on to make them look almost like a little gate. I'm going to show you now how to do this ladder. So this is a ladder we made. I'll just do a little shorter version here. So I've got 2 sticks that are about the same height. And then I've got some little sticks. These will be like the ladder rungs. I also, I like to reinforce the ladders with string, so I just have some yarn here that I'll use to wrap and some scissors at this point. So the first step you'll want to do is add your rungs. So you'll just kind of see where they need to go, and then you'll glue your pieces on like that. So one piece of glue over there and one over here, and then you just kind of let them dry. That's the basic ladder formation. So once your glue is good and dry and you have your ladder formation here, I like to tie string or yarn around where they connect, because if you were going to put an actual toy on these, they might break. So I start, I just have a piece of yarn about, this big, and I'm going to start by tying it on somewhere at the top. Trim it. Okay, so I have my string, and then I'm just going to tie it, wrap it around, as you can see, and then I'll wrap it around this way inside too. So it's catching this and it's catching this, and it's kind of tying them together. And that's going to help it to stay strong and not fall apart. And then you can continue down. I like to go down the same side. I just wrap it once around to go down to the next rung. And you'll do the same with that one. So now once I get to the end of my string, what I like to do is actually just put a little bit of glue down and just kind of set the string in the glue, let it dry. That way you don't have to worry about knots again, but if you don't have that hot glue, you could just tie it off and then you could trim it. Okay, so as you can see, that ladder is nice and reinforced at these 2 spots. So go ahead and continue on all of these rungs. So it'll look like this. Okay, so here's my finished ladder. As you can see, I have every single place where they join up together here tied. So that's a nice strong ladder now. So you could kind of set this up. You can either glue it to your piece, or you could just set it up so that way now your characters can climb up the ladder and into their home. I also have this moss. So this moss I got from the local greenhouse. I don't have a lot of moss around my house. So this kind of comes in some sheets, and you could cut it and tear it and do what you want with it. So, but if you don't have moss, you could always use some grass in there or some leaves. So you could just put that right in there. And so as you can see, it's like a nice little moss carpet in there. And you can glue that down or you can leave that open. Okay. So there is my little nature house. And this is just one example. There's lots of possibilities of what you can do with natural objects. The biggest thing is go out, look around. What do you see that's interesting? What would you like in your little house? From here you could make lots of things. You could make beds, you could make a little fence and have some little animals in the fence, kind of using the same technique. So you would just make like maybe a bunch of these and have a little fence around. The possibilities are endless. So go out, go get into nature, go collect some stuff, ask a grown-up for help with cutting and gluing and things like that, and have fun. So my kids love these. They use them for their little toys, and when they're done playing with them, I'm going to put them in my garden. Well, thank you for joining me again today, and I hope I've given you some ideas and techniques for building your own nature house. And if you do any of these, please feel free to send us images or put your pictures in the comments, and we'd love to see what you're doing. Thanks a lot.